Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto, baby. Wanna get the city love.
Dot.
I'm in Toronto, like wanna
Dot.
That's right, city love me back for my city love.
Welcome to episode 1145 of Toronto Mic'd, proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. StickerU.com. Create custom stickers, labels, tattoos, and decals. Palma Pasta. Fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees. The Yes We Are Open podcast, a Moneris podcast production. The Advantaged Investor podcast from Raymond James, Canada. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. Ridley Funeral Home. Pillars of the community since 1921. Canna Cabana. The lowest prices on cannabis. Guaranteed. And Sammy Cone Real Estate. Ask Sammy any real estate questions at sammy.cone@properlyhomes.ca. Joining me today, making their Toronto Mike debuts, are Dean McDermott and Mary Jo Eustace. Woo!
Hi.
Hello. This is so exciting. So exciting.
Tell us more about the funeral home since 1937. I'm dying to hear about it.
I want to know about
Tell us.
Sammy. I've got lots of questions for Sammy.
You know
I'm
this.
so
You might
excited.
know a band called The Watchmen. Do you know?
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Sammy's the drummer.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. And his side hustle is real estate. That's awesome.
Not the funeral home, but real estate.
By the way,
Right?
Well, hey, maybe he does too. I mean,
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
good to have more than one side
Exciting.
hustle.
the funeral home, this
Exciting.
is a hyper local thing, but they've been like amazing sponsors of this program for years. So shout out to Ridley Funeral Home, but shout out to
Yes,
Dean
shout
and
out to
Mary
Ridley.
Jo. Go ahead, Dean.
Now, you're not, I was giving a shout out to Ridley Funeral Home with you, but like, this isn't some weird kind of scam you got going. Like you have guests on and they mysteriously die.
And then
you go to-
Sammy does their real estate.
Yeah,
It's kind of
Sammy-
fucked up like that. Yeah, it sounds a bit
Sammy plays the
weird.
music at the wake.
And
it's
then
drums.
sells their house.
I was gonna say, first you get yourself a fresh craft beer from Great Lakes and get high
Mhm.
as high AF at Canna Cabana.
I'm into it now. I'm into vaping and my cannabis. I'm totally into it.
And I'm into Great Lakes beer. It's
Oh.
really good stuff. Really good stuff.
Good, Dean. Good.
It
Well,
is.
good
It's great.
endorsement.
Dean, when you
Yeah.
were here, okay, so you were in my basement.
I was.
That sounds
was.
dirty, but it's not.
Yeah, it sounds really dirty. We were fully clothed and there were
Super
two other
hot.
women. There were two other women there.
Oh,
Well, that sounds
whoa.
dirty too, right? Yeah.
yeah, it does a little bit.
Okay. They were
Mike's
clothed.
Did
basement.
you get any Great Lakes when you were here? I can't remember if I gave you Great Lakes.
Great Lays or Great Lakes? Sorry, say that
Um,
again.
You gave me one Great Lake.
Okay. So that's because it wasn't
And-
my
One?
show. If you were doing my show, I'd give you an 8-pack of Great Lakes beer. But
Right. It wasn't your show. It was Helen's show. It was
It
the
was,
the Feminine Warrior.
the Feminine Warriors. So
Yeah. So
uh,
you get one beer when you do someone else's show, but you get an 8-pack when you do Toronto Mike.
right.
Wow, it's
So
worth
let's
it to
do-
fly there. It's worth it to go
Right?
there.
Right?
Quite frankly, yeah, totally.
Guys,
But it
it's
is,
amazing.
it's awesome beer. It is
It's
awesome
okay.
beer.
It's delicious. Oh, here's a tie-in for you. Okay,
Okay.
maybe even better than the Sammy Cone drumming for the Watchmen. Okay, do you know who worked at Great Lakes Brewery for a short period of time because he was high school buds with Mike Lackey and Peter Bullitt, who were. Do you know who I'm talking about? There's a
Do you
guy.
know?
Yeah, I do. I
Who?
do. The
Who-
one and
who is it?
only, the hockey historian who is now an awesome broadcaster, my ex-defense partner on Sergeant Rock, the one and only Jeff Merrick. Love that guy.
Correct.
I've
I
fallen
love-
asleep already during this fucking podcast.
I love
okay?
Jeff, and you've never met Jeff, Mary Jo, because if
Yeah, I
you
have.
had, you
I
haven't
dated
met
him.
Jeff.
Yeah, I
You
dated
didn't.
him.
You didn't date Jeff Merrick.
Yeah,
he would've-
before he owned the funeral home, I dated him.
That's Sammy.
Oh, Sammy, sorry.
Get it
Okay.
together. What are
I
you,
dated
jet lagged?
both of
Are you
them. I-
jet lagged from flying around the world with your new boyfriend?
Maybe,
Maybe.
maybe a little bit.
How was
cannabis?
How was Tulum?
Mexico.
Sorry, Mike, I'm hijacking your show.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, it was fabulous. It was fabulous. It was great. It was great. I overcame a big hurdle.
The mouth guard?
No, I didn't bring the mouth guard. No, my night guard. I overcame a huge hurdle.
Well, which
I
one?
shared a bathroom with a man.
What?
Yeah.
Did you poop with the door open?
No, I
Did
left
it go that
every
no,
time.
every
No,
time,
but it was
every
a big open, it was a beautiful resort, big open air bathroom and stuff, but the door had slats. So I like got ready to go to dinner with like a man beside me. That's been a
Wow.
long time.
Wow,
Yeah.
that was as exciting as Jeff Merrick. Let's go back to Jeff Merrick.
A long time coming. Anyway, Mike, it's your show.
That's
Can you
amazing.
just-
Yes.
Can
So
you
here's
Can
what
you
we're gonna
take
do.
the reins,
control?
please? Can you take the
I'm
reins?
taking over here. So MJ, be patient. I know you're bored, bored stiff here in this hockey talk, but I'm going to do a little bit of hockey talk because I'm curious about some of the guys Dean played with that I know. And then I have so many MJ questions,
Okay,
and the
okay,
world has
good,
questions for
good,
both of you.
good.
And you have a new podcast we're going to talk about. But
Yes.
Dean,
Okay.
so-
Do you
so
want to
Dean,
sign off and I'll text you to come back on, Mary Jo?
I want to blow my nose. So should I mute my,
Okay,
should you
mute, yeah,
me?
mute, because
Mute me,
nobody
Mike.
wants.
Can
Oh,
you-
sure. That's classy of you to do that. Okay. So Jeff
Okay, you didn't-
Merrick, who's an
You did-
FOTM.
you did mute.
FOTM means friend of Toronto Mike. That's Jeff Merrick.
Mhm.
He's a great friend of the program. He
Love Jeff.
did
Is
tell
he
me-
short? Is he short?
No,
Not really.
no,
Okay.
he's like
Sorry, go on.
Jeffy's like 6 foot. Hell of a defenseman. We were a great
Okay.
team.
But
Okay,
you know,
go on,
just
sorry.
last week in this basement on a Wednesday night was Tony Napo.
Love Tony, another one of
Yeah.
my favorite human beings. And I listened to that episode, by the way.
Awesome.
And it was awesome. I gave Tony a shout out, and he remembered. He got two stories confused.
Okay.
He did walk into the dressing room for my dad had passed away, and I did a skate/wake, and I called it a squake. And so we all got together and we drank some beers and we played pickup hockey. When we were shooting my show, Tori and Dean, Home Sweet Hollywood, we did a hockey segment on it. And Tony, well, for starters, let me give you a little history of Tony, and I would be doing the same. Tony, and he's going to love this. Tony has got a huge hammer, like hung like a baby's arm. And if I had Tony's dick, I'd throw mine away.
Wow.
And I wouldn't wear pants. So that's why you can confidently walk into a dressing room with your dick out. So not only did he do that at the Squake, but when we were filming the hockey segment for my reality
Censor,
show,
Mary Jo, censor. Don't say anything here. Censor. Go on.
he walked in completely naked and then started doing the windmill. And it just brought everybody to tears. But that's
Aw.
Napo. That's Napo. He's got such a good heart. It was great. He loves his daughter, and he's just such a good guy.
Napo's
Love Tony.
currently starring in Bandits,
Yes.
directed by
You
Stu
want me to
Stone. I know you.
Stu Stone, and I know Stu from his rap days when he went by Stu the Jew.
Now, does Stu have a big
And
cock or just Tony?
I
I'm
never
just trying to keep-
saw Stu's, but
Oh,
he did.
okay.
Stu did date a porn star.
Because the listeners
So-
want to
Kendra
know.
Jade.
Okay.
Oh, I did see Stu's dick.
And
Stu, she was very jealous and possessive of Stu. So
Who, the
this
porn
is
star?
the porn
Kendra
star.
Jade?
Yeah.
yeah.
Keep going. We
Um,
need this info.
And
We'll get to
Okay.
it.
so when he'd go out of town, she would get very jealous, but she'd miss him. So he made one of those casts of his appendage.
Appendage.
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
nice.
like
And
Jimi
Stu's
Hendrix had and all that stuff. Yeah.
Stu's a little guy, and Stu's good.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
good.
Yes,
Good
I
to
wouldn't.
know.
It's nothing. I wouldn't.
Write home about it.
I would. No, I was gonna say I wouldn't throw him out of bed for eating crackers, but it's good. Stu,
Okay, good. Yay, Stu. Yay,
Yes,
yay,
yay,
yay.
Stu,
Okay.
and yay,
Yeah,
Tony.
yeah. I'm so
Yeah.
happy for both
And
of
thank
them.
you for not saying anything about me
You.
being hung like a light switch. Thanks, Mary Jo.
Oh,
have
Dean,
a
you are the
question.
biggest
Okay.
man I've ever had.
God
Yes,
is a
go, Mike.
cosmic joker.
I know.
Where to
Seriously.
begin?
Go
First
on,
off,
Mike.
Us three have been on several Zooms over the last few months, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Correct.
So there's two things I've noticed from the many Zooms we had, and it even is true today on this Zoom for Toronto Mike, is that
We don't listen to anybody.
no, Mary Jo comes on very early. Like if I say, like for example, today it was 4 p.m. Toronto time, and at 3:30, Mary Jo is on the Zoom.
Yeah.
That's
So-
because
Yeah.
she doesn't have a life.
I have such a life, Dean. I don't have 97 kids, but I have such a life.
So
but
you
I'm
just answered my
pathologically-
question.
I'm pathologically early.
So this
No,
is
you
everything.
were always on time. You were always
Yeah,
on time.
I'm always a bit early. I don't know why.
And that's a
I
good
am.
thing. I always believe that if you're not early, you're late. But all that went out the window when I had 27 kids.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
say.
I'm going to get to
Yeah.
the kids thing in a minute here, but just to finish,
Okay.
the other thing I've noticed every time we Zoom is that I always have that moment of like, who's joining my Zoom? Because there's always like a split second when Tori Spelling joins the Zoom. And there's that moment of like, oh yeah, every time Dean joins a Zoom we're on, it comes in as Tori Spelling.
Yeah, Dean,
You'd like
explain that.
You'd like an
Not
explanation.
just like you're using her
She's-
laptop or what?
She's eavesdropping and editing everything in our show, the Mary Jo and I's show. That she doesn't know. No, what happens is we were sharing a computer for the longest time. So she does a
Times
lot
are
of
tough.
Zooms,
Times
and
are
she well, no, it's so funny. She has this comfort thing. Like she's just like, oh, I just like because I know it's your computer. And mine is, my computer's pretty well organized. And she's just like, yeah, I know it's comfortable and I know it's you. And I was like, okay, I get that. But now I've started a new podcast
Endeavor.
with Mary Jo. And I was like, I need it exclusively for me. So I set her up her own computer. But yeah, it keeps coming up. My name comes up as Tori Spelling.
We're gonna fix that shit. ASAP.
We should, because
Yeah.
it's kind of funny. It was like, that's not Tori Spelling. She has way
We're gonna
more
fix
hair.
it. We're gonna fix it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have
That's
a
part of
song that I'll
the-
introduce because I actually want to talk. I want to just let people know that there is a new podcast that stars Mary Jo Eustace and Dean McDermott. I want to let
No,
people
it's
know
Dean
about-
McDermott. and
No,
Mary Jo
no.
Eustace. It
It's
just rolls
like-
off
no,
the tongue.
It goes back and forth.
Dean
No,
McDermott.
No,
and D
no,
comes before
no,
M.
No,
Yeah.
no.
So here's
Eustace
the
comes
song.
before McDermott. Go on, Mike.
Here's the song to introduce it, and then I have questions for you too.
Okay, lay it on us. We don't hear it.
We don't hear it, but Mike hears it. Okay.
Wow, like shot out of a cannon.
Yes.
That's
And
the
it
new
doesn't.
theme song for.
And just for the listeners, there's no wow, wow, wow. It sounded like it was playing in a coffee cup.
oh, just on your
Yeah.
side though.
Just
my
on our side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
my side
yeah,
is
yeah,
Eustace
yeah.
Dean here.
Okay.
But that is the theme song to X's and Uh-Ohs.
X's
Thank
and
you.
Uh-Ohs, starring Dean McDermott and Mary Jo
Oh my
Eustace.
God, it's X's and Uh-Ohs. not
X's and
X's and
Uh-Ohs. X's
You said
and
uh-oh.
Uh-Ohs.
You said
X's and
uh-oh.
Uh-oh. No, I'm saying Uh-Ohs. You just you
Uh-ohs.
hit the
Mike,
harder than I
Mike,
do.
Mike, did he hit the O big
I
time?
recorded it and he did not hit the the way we like him to
Thank
hit
you.
the
There you go. But I said Ohs. Okay.
Okay, Dean, if that makes you feel better.
Do you want me to sound like I'm
Okay.
choking? Like, welcome to this episode of X's and
There you go.
Ohs.
That's it. That's it.
Okay. All
Okay,
right.
you
I'll
just
do
got it. You just got
I'll
it.
do it. How great is
Producer
that?
note, though, before we
How-
find out like why should people listen, what the hell is it about? Very quick producer note, which is to say, people can literally right now pause this podcast, this episode 1145 at Tron Mike. You could pause that.
Wow. That
And in this-
many.
Yes, took me this long to score MJ and Dino here, but okay. You could go now to the podcatcher that you're already subscribed to Toronto Mike did, and you could subscribe right now to X's and Uh-Ohs with Dean McDermott and Mary Jo Eustace. You can do
Yes,
that right now.
Do
Yes.
it. Do
Do
it.
it.
Any
Go
of your
do it.
podcatchers, go to X's and Uh-Ohs.
Go
and
bitches,
check
go. Run,
us,
run.
Check us out.
Yeah,
we
get
drop-
ready for
Should we say
Excellence.
should we say when we drop? When is this episode gonna play, Mike?
Okay, well, the Toronto Mic'd episode we're recording right now,
Right now.
Yeah.
that'll be in the Toronto Mic'd feed in less than 2 hours.
Oh, there we go.
Jesus.
Okay, so Wednesday, November 9th is when X's and Uh-Ohs drops. So go
Oh,
to
okay,
your
wait, hold on.
favorite.
Hold on. No, Mike's got to
What?
Hang on,
correct
hang
you.
on.
Oh, Jesus.
Technically speaking, it's already available now. Like the first
Right,
episode has
right.
already-
But we just want it to sound official. But you can go there now and listen. Listen, tell your friends and email us at xsandahos@gmail.com. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your questions because, of course, we'll answer those for you. So
Oh, we
please,
will. We will.
Yes. xsandahos@gmail.com.
Yours truly, believe it or not, is divorced. I'm on my second marriage. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm a divorced guy, and when I
You
listen,
are.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
and when I
Card-carrying
listen
member.
to you two, and again, I have questions because a lot of people need like the table set, but I want to just let the listenership know that the spirit, the beautiful, authentic spirit of this show, two people had a bad divorce. You two had and we're going to get into a little of the details, but
Mhm.
all the details are in this podcast you have. But you guys had a bad divorce, and now you're friends now, and there's so much to learn from you two. Like, give us just give us an idea of like, why did you decide to start this podcast, X's and Uh-Ohs?
That's a really excellent question. And I can
Way
see
to
why
go,
people
Mike.
listen to your podcast.
Mike's smart.
Even though we talked about Cox at the beginning, I'm glad we talked about Cox at the beginning, truthfully. And now we're getting into the divorce. And yeah, you are divorced.
Why there's no cock.
There's no cock. You are divorced. So you're married again. So there's definitely no cock. So what happened is that over the years, and we've constructed like this 12-step program within our podcast where we talk about, the moment you find out you're getting divorced to the last step, which is when you become friends again with your ex. And we were really committed to doing this and to see if we can do this because our divorce was heinous. It was bad and horrible and played out in the media. It was just a clusterfuck. And Dean and I have been talking about doing this for a while. And the truth is we do. Well, Dean's still in love with me. That's the first thing. But we get along very, very well. And I don't even want to say it was about our son, Jack. I mean, that was part of it. But as adults, I felt
that was a catalyst. That
was a
certainly
catalyst.
or a common thread between us.
Yes, our DNA, our offspring. But beyond that, as adults, I felt that this was unabashedly adult, that for us to reconnect and become friends and revisit why we actually cared about each other initially was really important to kind of heal and forgive. And we've gone through this journey together and it's just been incredible. And so many people can relate to it because 60% of the population gets divorced anyway.
And
Right, Dean?
at one, yes. And at one point, it just didn't make sense to me anymore, Mike, because, we would get together for Jack's birthdays and we get together for Christmas. And no matter where Mary Jo and I were at with our relationship, we could be like, fuck you. I hope you drop dead. Don't ever call me. I'm blocking you. We'd always get together with our common thread, Jack. And Mary Jo and I would always kind of pick up where we left off before we got divorced. Like that chemistry was always there, that sense of
Not
humor.
sexual, not sexual.
No, not sexual. Not for me, maybe Mary Jo, but not me.
No.
So we just, we would have rip roaring good times. And like the rest of the table was looking at us like, these guys are just so fucked. They hate each other, but here they are sitting together laughing their ass off. So we'd always pick up where we left off. And one of the biggest things when the shoe really fell was when we went to San Fran for our son's graduation. And we ended up spending 3 days together at the state.
Partied our asses off, went to drag
rooms.
shows, gay bars.
Yeah, we had the best time. We were so thrilled that our son graduated.
You did ask me to go back to your room, but I said no.
But
you were desperate. You were a bit desperate.
I think somebody roofied me.
Is that what happened?
That's what it was. Yeah.
And when I knocked on your door and you were in like your snakeskin underwear, when I gave you a pineapple.
Here's the thing. Okay. We walked around. San Francisco is a great town for walking around, just like Toronto and New York. So we walked everywhere. We must have put 100,000 steps on our Apple Watches. So I'm like, I need a nap. I haven't walked as much. So I was having a nap. I get woken up, knock on my door. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, so there's Mary Jo with like one of the most beautiful pineapples I've ever seen. Did you get it at the market or at the Stay Pineapple Hotel?
No, I bought it. It was like 20 bucks. Lil
bought-
and I
oh,
bought it because the hotel
okay.
was called the Pineapple, and I wanted to give it Dean a symbol of, because the pineapple in Hawaiian means friendship and,
Yeah. So
aloha, welcome.
they just happened to catch me in my t-shirt and my black and white, I think, a tiger striped underwear.
It's like a banana hammock.
No, it wasn't.
Disturbing.
No,
It was
no,
disturbing, Dean.
no, it
It was
was. It's not.
disturbing.
I never wear a banana hammock. It was like the 40s square boxer kind of thing. And the only reason you saw it is because you looked in the mirror. I didn't
I
realize
saw
it
a
was.
reflection.
I
saw a
was behind the
reflection.
door being a gentleman, and you looked in the mirror and you saw.
And after that, I went down to the hotel bar. I was like, oh, I gotta have a drink. gotta get that out of
I
my
don't
head.
blame you. I don't blame you. I don't. It's not a pretty
I have
sight.
to get that out of my head.
It's
which I
not a
did.
pretty sight.
Okay, so let me just let people know. I've heard all these recordings you guys have been doing for the last few months, and we're going to drop episodes. I think every week we're going to drop a new episode, and there's one
Yes.
we're doing right now. People can subscribe now. There's even a YouTube show. I actually
There
got
is.
like a
Yes.
page with links to all these places so people can subscribe and like consume. But I want to go back. I've learned a lot about you guys from just, I'm on Zoom, but I turn off my camera and then I just listen. Okay. And I learn so much. So I know a lot. So we're not going to repeat the episodes that we've recorded, but I want to give like a little bit of like a blueprint of what's going on here. And that first thing is that you two, in case people don't know, you guys are from Toronto. Like you fell in love in Toronto.
Yes.
Correct. Correct. Dean fell in love with me madly, as a matter of fact.
Okay,
Tell them, Dean. Love it.
And we
Let's
talk.
take
No,
it
and
to-
no, you have to listen to the show. It's
You
in
have
there.
to listen to the show.
You know-
you have to listen to the show.
You know what I love about the show, and Mike touched on it. It's really genuine and heartfelt, and we're exploring things that we didn't know about each other. We're talking about things that we never talked about, and we're going back and searching the hard drive and coming up with these beautiful memories and moments that we have, and we talk about
Yeah.
those.
The
And
hard ones too, the hard moments.
and the hard moments too.
Because you've done a lot of thinking, Dean. Like you were nervous about how much thinking you've had to do.
Yes, and thinking hurts my brain, but also, I'm trying to become a better person through this whole thing as well. Mary Jo is very spiritual, and she's farther ahead in
Ish.
this ish. We're
Yeah.
working this out together, but we believe that we loved each other at one point. We were each, we were the bomb to each other, and it was going to be forever. At some point, we loved each other, and yes, we went through some hard stuff and it was nasty, but you know what? It's my belief that you should always have a relationship with your ex, whether it's boyfriend, girlfriend, or you're married or whatever. Because you were a unit at one point. You
Question,
shared.
no question. So you guys have a
Yes.
child together,
Spit
Jack.
it out, Mike. Yes.
If there's no Jack and there's no Lola, do you still have to have a relationship with each other, or can you just like
This is-
fuck it and move
I
on?
This
think
is what
so.
this is what I'm trying to say, because I know that the kid card is in a way easy. Oh, what's the greatest thing you ever did together? Your kid. Well, whatever, yes.
But not
I think,
not having a kid is an easy card to play as well.
yeah, so it can work either way. So I think that it's really important when you have these significant relationships that you honor them and come to some. I think you have to work it out on some level. And what was really interesting is that talking to some people about the show, had listened to some of the advanced episodes because they're sensational. They said, "Oh, this is really a show about forgiveness."
Mhm.
It's about forgiveness and
Growth.
forgiving the person, and letting yourself off the hook. And I think it's really essential in the culture to be able to do this. And I think it's an adult journey, and I think it really helps propel you forward in your other relationships. And what's really interesting? I'm going to take a moment here because you talked about the Napa thing and the hockey thing. So you two are just going to shut the fuck up. I'm going to take a moment here. This weekend I saw, don't say anything, but remember Open Range when you did Open Range
Yes.
with Kevin Costner? Just
Yes.
nod.
Yes.
Just nod. Dean.
Okay.
Okay. So I was together with those girls on Friday night. We had a whole reunion. Mike, the producer, the global producer, when Dean and I were married, Dean did Open Range in Calgary, and Kevin Costner, it was a Kevin Costner movie. By the way, you were great in that. So
Thank
we
you.
went to Canmore for 2 months, Jack and I, to hang out with Dean, and I met this group of girls, and one of them was Annette Benning's makeup artist and assistant. And I mean, one of my friends is worldwide famous makeup artist, Julia Roberts, George Clooney, the whole 9 yards. And I saw this group of girls on the weekend. It was really interesting because half the girls said, oh my God, I support this. This is so amazing. And then the other half said, I just don't know if I can get over what he did. I just don't know if I can listen. And I said, you have to listen. You have to hear the whole story. It's important you listen, support me, listen to it, and you'll understand why I'm doing it. And they were like, okay, like and I think to a certain extent, they'd probably projected some of their personal experiences on it when they had a bad breakup or when something horrible happened. And so they were bringing that to the table. And I said, I want you to listen with open ears, because I think you're going to learn a lot about human dynamics and what was going on and the arc of forgiveness and reconnection. And they were like, okay, but I've had that. I've had some people just go, how can you? And I'm like, because I want to. I want to get to that next level in our relationship, and we have with hard work.
I think that's a funny reaction because it's happened to me and my friends when it happened, and it was like, you're acting like I divorced you. I've always found that odd.
What was that?
How people react to the divorce. Like you said, some of these friends you met with are like, oh God, I can't listen to that. Whoa. Yeah. And it's just like, you're acting like he divorced you. Like what? Well,
people are protective. People are super protective.
I understand that. But just to go to that, I don't know. I guess
did.
a lot of people
It was funny.
Dean, I go on Twitter and I'm like, okay, Mary Jo Eustace and Dee McDermott are coming on. Do you have any questions? And I'm going to be very honest with you because I like you and we're friends. And I'm telling you, there were people.
Hold on.
Is that a Canada Goose in there?
It sounds like a tugboat.
Hi, I'm back.
So, but there were several people who had something to the effect of like, what does he think about being such a douchebag and things like
God.
this? Okay.
Yeah.
That's a nice name. That's a nice name.
Yeah.
Let me just dumb this down a shade because some people are like, what are we talking about here? But there are a lot of people who see it like this. You're married to Mary Jo Eustace. We're going to learn more about her in a minute. But you have a child with Mary Jo named Jack, and you fall in love on a movie set, or I guess it was a movie set. You fall in love with a famous person named Tori Spelling, who people know from 90210, but I remember her from Saved by the Bell. You remember she was Screeching?
Yes. Violet Bickerstaff.
Yeah,
I remember her from that too. She was super cute.
So shout out to Tori Spelling, and shout out to Mark Weisblad, who came over and knew that I was producing.
This book. You're producing this book again. And as I say, I'm in every chapter. I'm in every chapter.
That's the first one. That's a good book.
So people see it as basically you like leaving your family and hooking up with a Hollywood star.
Yeah.
And people are very unforgiving. So what do you say to
very
these
unforgiving?
And we talk a lot about this in our podcast. So we don't want to give too much away because we really go into a lot of detail about this.
We don't. I mean, I just searched Instagram today. I posted something about when I was doing stand-up, my first gigs in New York City, and people just this morning I was called a douchebag piece of dirt.
Does it bother you still? Does it bother you?
No, it doesn't. No,
I wouldn't let it bother me.
It just perplexes me that it's 17 years, right? Like, just move on. Like, it's over. It's done. This was between Mary Jo and I and Jack and Tori. It's got nothing to do with you. Mind your own fucking business, and take that energy of going to my account and writing something nasty. Go to someone's account that you do like, an actor, a singer, an activist, and tell them, hey, you're awesome. I love what you're doing. It's just negative energy. The same way that couples who divorce or split up with or without kids, if you don't have a relationship with your spouse, it's just negative energy you're carrying around and taking up space for something positive to come in your life. So I'm going to be called a douchebag till the day I die. And that I live off my wife and I'm a fucking deadbeat dad and lazy piece of shit. That's a cross I have to bear, and I didn't know that was going to come with the territory, but it is what it is. And, you know, at the time it was horrible. The heart wants what the heart wants. And what happened happened. But here we are. Here I am with my ex-wife, and we're mending fences, building bridges. We're growing, we're healing, and becoming better people because of it. So whatever people think of me, I have to, you know, stick to my own narrative. I'm a good guy. I'm a really good guy. And I make mistakes and I fuck up and I messed up. And, you know, find me someone who's perfect. You know what I mean? Aside from, you know, present company
present company
excluded.
excluded.
Except, well, you're not perfect. The blowing of the nose, it sounds like a tanker ship. You're not, you know, you're
Not
almost
hot.
there.
Not hot. Let's put it that way. Not hot. Not
So
hot.
I'm glad you asked that question, Mike, because I have I used to have really bad reactions to it, and I would call people out as like, I'll meet you anywhere, any place. You say that to my face, and they would go away. But it just water off a duck's back now, because I know in my heart I'm a good guy, I'm a good dad, I'm a good husband, and I'm just trying to be a good human being, you know.
Were you, I know you kind of referenced it there, but you must have been taken aback at the tabloid shitstorm that kind of blew up when this all went down. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not a guy who reads tabloids. I don't watch TMZ. Like, this world's foreign to me, but even I caught wind of this. Like, it kind of permeated the atmosphere. It was like through osmosis. I was kind of
Yeah.
absorbing all
Well,
this.
it's permeated the atmosphere for a decade, over a decade. I'm
yeah.
telling you, it goes on and on and on and on and on. Like, we can talk about it forever.
Yeah.
You know,
And I don't
but
think either one of us would have predicted that,
yeah.
you know, because we just came from Toronto. You know, I had a great career in Toronto, and overnight, basically, I'm everywhere. And then the rumors get out, and the story gets out, and then boom, Mary Jo's brought into it, and it just becomes huge. And it's like we were just, you know, just a couple from Toronto that moved to
Right.
LA to try
And then
and make it.
then it got a life of its own, and people made mistakes in that, using it to leverage and promote and stuff. So it was a learning experience for all. Tori would have had way more experience with the media than we did, because we did
Absolutely.
not.
I mean,
We did not.
she's been
Right.
plagued by the media since she was 11.
But she's
And-
also utilized it. She's utilized it. And we
Sure.
talked about this. Yeah.
Sure.
So it was all an interesting learning curve on so many levels, because to Mike's point, like, who would have thought anybody would have given a shit about this? Like, really?
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Who
It was
would
like,
have thought?
what?
I was shocked that anybody. I remember when it first, went down, so many things, but I remember specifically, I did an interview with the Globe and Mail, which is does the Globe and Mail still exist?
Of course, yes.
I think
Oh,
so,
okay,
but it's
okay.
only like this thin, right? It's
Yeah,
like 3
yeah,
pages.
yeah.
Same
So
with
I
the
did
Star.
this- I did this interview, I'd done tons of stuff for What's for Dinner, and he said, I hadn't done. He said, she said, I had a good career in Canada as well,
We'll talk about that.
and so the Globe and Mail was like, oh, we want to interview, and I'm like, oh, that's great. That's a superior paper. I'm going to do that, and I did the interview, and I was naive, and then the next day it came out, Mary Jo is she our Jennifer Aniston, and as she leverages her script in her book to movie fame, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I had no
the old bait and switch.
and how do you feel about being the Jennifer Aniston of Canada? Like, what are you talking about?
But does that make
Yeah.
What are you
Dean the
talking
Brad Pitt of Canada?
I don't think so. No.
No. Because I was such a douchebag that they wouldn't even entertain
Hey, but
calling me
here's
the
the
Brad Pitt
thing.
of Canada.
Here's the thing. Maybe you were a douchebag for a bit. Maybe I was this. Maybe I was that. But here's the beauty of it: that 17 years later, we're talking about it. And what I love that we've discovered, first of all, a lot of this stuff we've never even talked about, right? When it happened, all these explosive, horrible, Hiroshimas in our life, we never really discussed.
No, we just distance ourselves.
Right.
You and I. It was just like,
but I think I objectified this experience because I couldn't even relate to it. And I think that what we're doing here, which is important, is we're doing our narrative. Like we're telling our story, and it's not a one-dimensional story. And either is any divorce or any breakup,
it's complicated. It's very complicated.
or any relationship that goes south and has an ugly period. So so many people will relate to it. Ours just happened to play out really big in the town square, but
Mhm.
we've said that on the show, it plays out everywhere in the town square. Like if you're in a community or your family, like everybody goes through this to a certain degree. And to be able, and especially for Dean, I think, that you've been able to really, your narrative, you're owning your narrative of what happened in a
Mhm.
very interesting and empowering and honest way that I think people are going to be really surprised, impressed. You're articulate about it, you're accountable about it. So I think it's going to show
Mhm.
us in a very different light,
Yeah.
which
Well, thank
I'm
you,
looking
Mary Jo,
forward
and I
to.
hope so. I hope so.
It does. I think it
Hey, look,
does. Mike, our global
I could
producer, what do you think?
if I could speak to anyone out there who thinks Dean's some douchebag who just left his Toronto family for Hollywood starlet, like I would say, start with episode 1, obviously, and then you'll find yourself, anxiously waiting for episode 2 because it's that good. But just hear them out, because I will say there's nothing scripted. I just want to tell people from like a producer's perspective, there's nothing scripted. There's nothing mapped out on the board or whatever. Like
No.
it's like, to me, I told you guys this many times. I feel like I'm listening in on your therapy session. Like it's so heartfelt and authentic. And there are moments where, one of you will say something to the other, and then, you'll say, you've never said that to me before. And there are these
Mhm.
moments of truth and reconciliation, and it's really beautiful. And as a divorce guy, I appreciate it. But I think as anybody who's interested in the human dynamic and relationships as a whole would benefit from hearing you two talk openly and honestly on this show.
Mhm.
Oh,
Well,
Mike.
Mike, thank you.
We don't pay you enough. Well, we don't
No,
pay
I
you.
know. Yeah, the check is
So,
in the mail.
yeah.
When I approached MJ as the star of this podcast, X's and O's, and said, "Hey, do you want to be a part of it?"
Oh, fuck you.
No, but when we
Douchebag, asswipe.
I prefer bag of douche.
Bag
This
of
is like
douche.
douchebag is just overused. But
Well, for you it is.
when Mary Jo and I started talking about this show, it was very much, it's open and honest and vulnerable, or we don't do it.
It won't work. It won't
It
work.
just won't work.
Yeah, we've had
And-
uncomfortable
and
conversations within it.
because we have a real opportunity here too. Like there's nothing like it on the podcast horizon, or whatever you want to call it.
Landscape.
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 Thank you. That's the word I was looking for.
You're welcome.
I was going to say manscape, but that's
different.
That's a different show.
Yeah.
We have a real opportunity here, and it's open and honest and heartfelt. And we do.
Yeah.
And I love those moments that, it's just self-discovery. While you're listening to a
Yeah.
podcast, there's self-discovery going on. And there's things, like I said, we haven't talked about that
Ever.
are moving, angering, enlightening. You get the whole shebang with this show.
You
Yeah,
really
so-
do.
You do.
Here's some
Yeah.
general questions. Obviously, all the details are in the podcast, but how long were you two married for?
Ask Dean. He'll get the number wrong. Go, Dean.
13 years.
Go, Dean. Wow,
13.
you got it. After
There.
92 episodes, you finally got it.
I'll forget again.
The 13 years, the best years of your life. That's it. Next
You know what?
question.
I hide my own Easter eggs.
Do you really? Because you won't know where they are.
Because I forget.
You forget where they are. We were married for 13 years.
13.
And presently, we've been
David-
divorced for
David
17.
for 17. Yes.
Okay,
17, yeah.
And Dean, how long have you been married to Tori Spelling?
17 years, because he got married 12 seconds after our divorce was final
It wasn't
and had
12
32
seconds.
kids.
It wasn't
Yeah.
12 seconds, but it was fast. So yeah,
Actually,
married.
I'm guilty of the same thing. I think I got married very
Married-
quickly the second time.
Hmm.
Oh, you
Whatever.
douchebag. Mike, you're a douchebag too.
Men are
Oh,
pigs.
My good. And men are pigs.
No
I mean,
comment.
I won't argue with that. I won't.
Okay,
Men are
so I'm
pigs.
just trying to get like some nuts and bolts here. Now, how many
Ooh,
children-
nuts.
how many children do you two have together?
Dean?
Mary Jo and I have an interesting situation. We have Jack, who is 24 now, and Lola. And we won't get into the nitty-gritty of that, but I have 2 kids with MJ, and I have 5.
And that's going to be a
with Mary
whole
Jo.
podcast. This is a whole
That's a
thing
whole,
that
yeah.
we're going to talk
Yeah.
about, which has really been quite revolutionary for us too.
Yes.
That whole thing. So
on
that's
the show and in person, because
Yeah.
Lola is back in my life, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
a new relationship to grow and explore.
So this is
Yes.
2 children tied to Mary Jo Eustace.
Yes.
How many
Yes.
children do you have with Tori Spelling?
5,
Okay, that's 7.
7,
Wow.
7.
Okay.
Look at Mike. Mike's so proud of
I got
himself.
five.
He
That's
did math. Mike
7.
did math.
Only
It's
'cause,
this
like,
many fingers.
I have 4
Um,
kids, and I find it like tough to because I'll be like I was spending the weekend with the 20-year-old, and I'm about to go to Montreal and visit the 18-year-old. Meanwhile, I'm literally helping the 6-year-old learning to read, and then the 8-year-old we're at hockey practice, and it's just I feel like I'm like, oh my god, like how do I balance this 4-person act? And you've got 7 kids, you've got to spread yourself between. That's quite something.
it is. And it's
Ugh.
always toughest for the youngest. Yeah, you always have to cater to the lowest common denominator, and then
How old is the youngest?
he's 5.
Okay, yeah,
He's 5. So
You old guys with your young kids.
I know,
You old
right?
geezers.
Keeping us
I
young.
Jesus.
know. I'm trying to catch up with Nick Cannon.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
11. You'll never. 'Cause
that's a
Yeah,
good
I'll never.
goal to
Yeah,
have.
I'll never.
That's
I'll
a
never
great
catch.
goal.
I'll never.
Hey,
I'll
this
never
came up
catch that.
yesterday with my wife and I. Apparently, he's got like 9 children. I think one actually passed away, sadly. So.
It did, sadly.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
Yes.
2 are in the oven with 2 different women. There's like
2 different women.
different
Yeah.
women at
So
play.
I
So
think that's gonna make 11.
you can't catch Nick unless you diversify your portfolio. Like as long as you stick to 2 women, you're never gonna catch Nick.
No.
No.
Who
No.
does anybody
no, and
want to catch Nick Cannon?
No.
I don't.
No.
I don't think so.
Tori just saw him on Saturday. They were both Nick's. I forget which woman who was pregnant, but they were speaking at a pregnancy expo, and Nick was there with the new
There's
baby.
a pregnancy expo.
Yeah.
He probably had a woman in every booth.
Is there a
Talking
divorce,
about-
is there a divorce expo? Because
But
you could
he's
be, like,
super nice.
keynote
Hey, maybe
speakers
we
next
should
week.
start a divorce expo.
Let's do a divorce expo. I would love to do that. I would love to do workshops.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
we're
at-
gonna.
and at-
Where there's so many things we want to do with this.
And at the
Right?
gifting suite, you can take all your ex-husband's stuff and throw it in the garbage, and vice versa.
And burn it.
And burn it. Yeah.
I like
Okay.
this question that came in. So I got some
Oh,
great
another-
photos. I
yes.
got a great question from Barb's McGee, which is a real name, by the way, because Barb's McGee, I think, oh, that's a fake name, but that's a real name.
Sounds like a bar.
Porn star. Okay, give it to us.
Right,
Is
shout
it for
out
both
to-
of us?
It's so she saw a photo, a promotional photo of you guys for X's and Uh-Ohs, the podcast. And she wanted to know if you're a couple. There were like 6 question marks at the end. So definitively, for the record, is there anything romantic between you 2 anymore?
Well, they're just going to have to tune in, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, look at this
Tune
man
in
below
after-
me. Look at him.
Tune
his
in after dark,
headphones.
Barbara.
That's a no.
Yeah.
Barb McGee.
Yeah.
X's and O's after dark.
I'm going to teach Dean a lesson. He's a bad boy.
Suffice it to say, no,
Not currently.
not
No.
currently. You
No.
never know.
You never know.
Well, what
You
does
know,
your
we
wife,
know.
Dino? What does your wife think about this project you're taking on with Mary Jo? Like, is she supportive of this? Like, what's going on with that dynamic?
Absolutely supportive. She thinks it's a fantastic idea, and she is my biggest fan. So she's behind me 1,000% on everything I do, and and that's something that we should talk about. And maybe when we have her on the show, Mary Jo and Tori have been kind of doing the same thing we're doing. Not as fast tracked as we are, because we have a show together and
Right.
have spent subsequently more time together. But yeah, so she's 100% behind the show, and we look forward to having her on as a guest.
We really
just
do.
A little tease there.
Wait, the teaser.
It's going to be a two-parter. Two-parter with
when I
Tori.
see Tori Spelling entering the Zoom, I'll make some dick joke thinking it's Dean, and it'll be like,
Oh, she'll love it. If it's a
She
dick
likes
joke,
a
she'll love
likes
it.
a good dick joke. Yeah, I mean, who doesn't?
doesn't?
Really? Who doesn't?
Who
good point. Good
doesn't?
point.
Let's be honest.
Now, I know you didn't want to tell too many details because it's all in the podcast, but there is a person that, another FOTM played a role with you 2 getting together when you fell in love in Toronto all those years ago. Like, so can we shout her out, because she came up in the origin story?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, the host of the very successful show Feminine Warriors, Helen Tansey.
Ah,
Helen and I we dated.
You date it.
And we were kind of at the end of our dating experience, and she was at the event that Mary Jo was at where I met her for a second time because Mary Jo didn't remember the first time we met.
But the first time you met Mary Jo was you basically at your agent's house seeing a photo of Mary Jo Stryker and saying,
yes, her
"It's
stage
striking."
name. Yeah, and I was
Yes.
like, "Oh my God, who's this?" And he was like, "Oh, that's Mary Jo. She's great." Da 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 da. And I said, "Oh
You
boy,
fell in love.
I'd
You
like
fell
to,
in love then and there. You
I'd
said
like
you
to
fell
meet,
in love.
I'd like to meet her."
You fell in love.
All right, I fell in love. God
Here,
damn it!
So I searched high and low. I went through, YouTube and every other video streaming thing I could find, looking for a Bell Canada ad that I guess was airing. Are we in the early 90s now? Whereabouts am I where this is?
Yeah, like
yeah.
91, 92. Yeah.
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 Yep.
Maybe you two, just a little bit about the fact that before you guys hook up at this event, which I think was at City Hall, but with Helen Tansey, maybe City Hall, but I act like I was fucking there. I wasn't there.
I know. Were you? Were you there?
I was hiding behind the curtain there. But
Yeah.
there's an ad that was running, a Bell Canada ad starring Dean McDermott. And just give me a little taste of MJ of what you thought of that ad before you even met the actor who was in this.
Oh
Bell ad.
God, this is like Brian Lanahan. Remember Brock Lanahan?
Yeah.
This is like
Well, Brock was on SCTV. This is
I know, no, I know this is an intense interview. Well, when there was a commercial on the air and for Bell Canada, it was a Bell Canada guy, and Dean was wearing Levi's and a white T-shirt, and he was saying goodbye to his girlfriend, and under like an oak, maple tree or something like that, and she was like, "Oh, I'm going to miss you so much. I'm going to miss you so much," and he went, "I'll call." And she's like, "Oh my God, I'm going to miss you so much." And he said, "Don't worry, I'll call." And I think we said
And she
our
said,
friend
every day. And I
every
said,
day. And you said
every day. Every day.
And that was the panty remover, the panty.
I was also yoked. I was in like really great shape.
You were in great shape, but that's a panty dropper. And when he said every day, I was like, oh my God, that guy's super hot. And very Canadian looking. And I was like, I said to my mother, that's the type of guy I want to marry. I mean, like he misses his girlfriend. He's going to call every day. He's Canadian. He's down to earth. He looks great in jeans and a T-shirt. And then that was Dean, and I ran into Dean, and we called him the Bell Canada guy.
It's
Because he was
amazing
a
to me to
super
hear
hot
that.
piece of ass.
And then
Yeah,
we
well,
met shortly after that.
Still a
Yeah,
good-looking guy, but like you're crushing on this actor in the Bell ad who happens to be Dean McDermott. Meanwhile, he's crushing on this photo of this model actress named Mary Jo Stryker that happened to be at like it is amazing that you guys finally met and that Helen Tansey helped you two sort of like connect there at this event, because you two were already into each other before you met each other.
Who
Yeah.
knew?
Chemistry.
Yeah.
Who
And
knew?
Helen, you left and you're like, oh, okay. Like, and you were taking a long time to leave. I was bouncing at the event. I was doing security.
Yeah.
And so Mary Jo came down to hang out with us for a while, and she's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll see you later. Like oblivious, like that she was even into me. And she's like, okay, I'll see you later. And it just kept hanging around. And then she finally left. And then Helen comes up and smacks me in the back of the head and said, you dummy, she likes you. I went, really? She's like, yeah, she wanted, like, she was hanging around. She really likes you. And she said, did you get her number? I was like, no, but I remembered that she worked at Select
No, that's in
Bistro.
our podcast. That's in our first podcast.
Well, yeah, but you can't. People are gonna be so mad at you for saying it's in the podcast that they're gonna say, "I'm not fucking listening to that podcast." These
Oh,
assholes."
No, but there's more to
okay.
it. No, there's
There's
more to it.
Oh my God.
We're just scratching the
Okay.
surface.
Yeah, you're just scratching the surface.
Okay.
We're just scratching the
trying-
surface. Yeah.
I'm trying to have suspense for our viewer.
Yeah,
our
there's
listener.
there's plenty
Okay.
of suspense.
Because
Yeah.
Nick
Okay,
Kiprios
okay.
came on the show and said it's in the book, and people were so mad. They said
Right.
they went and they burned the book at Indigo. It was like they just just
Okay. Well,
mad
we
in
don't
the
want to
book.
start a revolution.
You had Nick Kiprios on?
yeah. He was episode 700 actually. Episode
Did
700.
he bring his NHL? Was he wearing his NHL?
Of course.
Stanley Cup ring?
I think he
There we
sleeps in it.
Huge. It was huge.
The Rangers in '94.
Yeah.
By the way, did
Yeah.
anybody watch the Chiefs last night? My Mahomie. Did anybody watch Patrick
No,
Mahomie?
I'm not a football
I
guy.
love him. Oh my God, he is so super hot. Talking about super hot, and ran like from the 20-yard line, like got his team down the field, and they won. They were victorious.
Oh,
NFL
MJ.
football, yeah,
Because I don't want to
I'm
have this.
not a football
superior
guy.
to hockey. Go on.
I don't want this episode to get
Not.
not true.
Don't even.
Oh, but I will say
don't.
I have heard
Don't
Mary
even.
Jo say she hates Toronto. Like you visit your parents in Toronto and you can't wait to get out of the city. Like you do not like Toronto, right?
That's great for people from Toronto tuning
Right?
into our
On,
podcast.
on,
Thanks,
on
Mike.
Toronto,
He
Mike.
likes Toronto.
On
I
Toronto,
love
Mike.
Toronto. I love
Thanks for
Toronto.
that.
I love
Thanks
Canada.
Real
for
talk,
that.
real talk. Okay, I want to just
Yeah.
make sure, Mary Jo, you know that you recorded a message for Bob Willett when he came over about 3 weeks ago. We played it and chatted about you. So what I'm hoping now, because we just to give us a taste of, you weren't just Dean's wife when everything fell
no.
apart there. Like you were a big
No.
fucking star. In fact, here's a couple of questions that came in. Sparky writes in, wow, blast from the past. Mary Jo was hosting with Ken Kostick and McDermott was on Due South, but I didn't know he was Mary Jo's hubby until he hooked up with Tori Spelling. I always enjoyed Mary Jo Eustace projects. And before you remark and before you say a word, YYZ Gord, who I actually met at the Vandits premiere at the movies, shout out to Stu Stone, and his huge wang, as we learned earlier. But
Tony's cock is bigger. Go on.
Tony's is
Oh.
bigger. Yeah.
It
Bigger,
sounds like
yeah.
it's like my arm, Tony.
Yeah, that's what Dean said.
But do
Ugh.
women want that? I mean, I don't think that would be what you'd want to
Mm.
see. Like that's gonna hurt, right?
Well,
Is that
depends.
Sparky's
What-
question? Is that
No,
Sparky's
what's the question?
Or...
It
Okay, Mary
depends.
Jo says, really looking
Depends.
forward to this. I love Mary Jo Eustace. I followed
Oh.
her from just What's for Dinner to Proud FM. I'm interested in how she got paired with Ken and the genesis of, is it called Just for Dinner or What's for Dinner?
What's for dinner?
Okay, 'cause he
What's
has
They-
for
family
dinner?
called it
Talk
Just for
about
Dinner.
chemistry. Those two.
We had the
that
best
was,
chemistry.
Yeah, that
Can
was
we
like
talk
lightning in a
about,
bottle.
Ken Kostick and all those great
Yes.
projects you
Yes.
had with Ken?
I love it when people used to call the show "What's for Diner." I thought, really?
Right.
No. What's for dinner? Okay, so what's for dinner? We started, oh God, I think mid-90s. And so I had gone to George Brown. I was a chef, and that's how I met Dean. And so there was a casting call for this show called What's for Dinner to go and be a co-host for Life Network. Remember Life Network
Life
had just
Network,
started,
yeah,
right?
Susan
So
Forrest. Yeah.
Right, Susan Forrest. So I went to the audition with my little toolbox and everything and my knives, and I auditioned. And Ken and I had really good chemistry. And I went. Remember, Dean? I went for like 100 auditions to get.
Oh,
this,
it was
show.
a nightmare. It was a nightmare.
It was endless.
Then the money negotiation part of it was a nightmare.
Yeah,
Oh
which
my
was
God.
like $1.50 per episode. But
Yeah.
anyway, so and it was like 110 episodes.
It
So
was Canada.
it was
Yeah, right.
Canada. So I was like, I was so excited to do this show, and then I get the call, and they're like, we hired somebody else. And
Oh,
I
that's
was
right.
devastated. And Dean said, okay,
That's
let's go get
right.
our second golden retriever puppy. I'll get you a dog, So we went and we were picking up
That's
our
what
second
you
golden
do.
retriever. That's what you do. And I got a call. See, I always do this when I tell a story. I got a call at 10 o'clock at night and said, we fired this other broad, and we want you to come in the next morning and we're going to do camera rehearsals and see if you can do it. So they got rid of the other lady because the network thought I was way too left of center to come in and do this. And so I went in the next day and I got the job. I got the gig. And then we did 110 episodes. So 5 episodes a day. And we got loopy. Plus we were drinking in the afternoon and all sorts of
5 a
stuff.
day. That's insane.
Yeah. And I outed him on TV many times. And we had like
Like you had to.
like we had like rear door jokes and gay jokes and like anything I could throw in there. We had viewer mail that turned like pornographic, anything that I could do. And then what happened is Liam Lacey, I don't know if he's still around, the
Yes.
critic for the Globe and Mail, wrote this glowing review on What's for Dinner, and it just became this huge hit.
Yeah.
It was so unprofessional, but it was fun, it was unscripted, and the chemistry was insane. So that led to a huge journey with Kenny, ups and downs for sure over the course of the next decade. We did in
I remember the
total
lawsuit.
several lawsuits. So we did What's for Dinner. We did 550 episodes of What's for Dinner. And then we did 150 episodes of He Said, She Said. And then we did 2 years of a radio show called What's for Breakfast with Ken and Mary Jo. And that was my favorite show because I said diarrhea every morning on the air, which I loved. And I'd get yelled at every day for saying diarrhea.
And that's where Bob Willett enters your life.
That's where Bob Willett entered my life. And he's like, MJ, please don't say it because Rob is going to be on my ass. And I would get called into the office and poor Bob every morning was just horrified.
Didn't Bob Willett, didn't he play bass in your band? Or was that
I don't
another
think he
Bob?
plays
Oh, okay.
But quick,
That
Bob,
was a
with
different
connection
Bob.
here. Quick
Different Bob.
collection. Before Bob was producing your show, Mary Jo, he of course produced the Humble and Fred show.
Humble
for
and Fred.
many
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
I am the current producer of the Humble and Fred show. So Bob
I
and I.
love Humble and Fred.
No
I've
way.
done their
Please
show
say
many
hi.
times.
Well, the thing is, you're in California, for those who don't know, and if you guys, and I didn't even want to ask because of the time difference, but at 8:15 Toronto time, anytime, I don't know, maybe one day, I don't know why
We'd
you
do it. I would do it, wouldn't you,
I would
Dean?
put
Yeah.
you because I booked the guest.
Yeah.
I would put you two on Humble and Fred in a heartbeat if you were
We'd
happy
love
on
it.
at 5:15 a.m.
Love to
If
be
it
on.
if it
Humble
benefits
Howard.
us, yes, we'll do
Yeah,
it.
Howard's a great golfer too.
He's actually he's a
Howard.
fantastic golfer.
Yeah.
Yes, like a senior club champion or something.
Yeah, he's like a scratch. Yeah, no, he's an awesome golfer.
They actually,
So
we had
that's gonna
Humble and
happen.
Fred on What's for Dinner. Humble and Fred came
That's
on What's
right.
for Dinner.
Wow.
They came on our
That's
show.
right.
So that became a big hit for us. And we had lots of fights. And then after the third season, I quit because I couldn't take it anymore. And then they came back to me for Equal Nation. So Ken and I were both producers. Remember this, Dino?
Right,
And
right.
then it was great. And it was great because we were equals. So it was so fun. And the radio show, What's for Breakfast, was probably the funnest thing we've ever done. It
Now
was
the
just a
Evanov
blast.
group, which own that Proud FM, is at least from what I've been told,
They're
notorious.
mafioso Evanovs, aren't they?
You know, the main
Yeah.
Evanov gentleman passed away like 2 years ago.
Oh,
You
God
really
rest
want to
his
put that out
soul.
there? You really want
I
to put
wasn't
that out
going to
there,
say
MJ?
mafioso for the record. I was going to say, I'm just curious, did they actually pay you or did you pay them to come on Proud FM and do the
Well, it was the Evanov family and the Camiso family, and I'm not even kidding. Rainbow Camiso was my boss, and I met him when he got out of jail for murder at the company Christmas party.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm serious. I'm
And at
dead
this
Wow,
serious.
time
because
in your life-
they were Camiso and Rocco, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
bakeries. Wow.
And he said, "Come to my house for dinner," and I'm like, "Okay."
And then they said,
I'll come.
leave the gun, take the cannoli. Is
Yeah,
what-
exactly, exactly. The Godfather. No, but yes, we were
Okay,
paid.
so wait, the radio show though, is that after Dean said to you,
Yes.
I'm leaving
Yes.
this marriage?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I just want to get my
That was
Mhm.
after
Yeah.
Dean had departed.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I did the radio
you-
show.
You moved back to Toronto for about 2 years.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and
to
did that
work.
show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did the radio show, and I did He Said, She Said. I was very busy, but the radio show was the best. And Bob Willett was like the best producer ever because he just surfed porn and didn't even pay attention to anything we said. Like nothing. He had a hot dog in the morning for breakfast, like a hot dog at 5:30 in the morning.
Oh.
And he was on Facebook the whole time. And Ken, I remember Ken saying once, "Bob, I don't want to take you off Facebook, but I'm concerned there's no signal at the moment. Can you just check your board?"
So to recap for the FOTMs listening, we've had updates on Stu Stone's wiener and Bob Whitlock's hot dog.
Yes.
Hot dog.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lots of phallic stuff in
Well, it
this
was a gay
episode.
radio station. It was a gay radio station.
I've
So
been,
what do
I've
you
been there
want for
because
nothing?
we actually recorded a podcast for
Is
Humble
it still on
and Fred
Church
and-
Street?
Yeah,
Is it
Church
still-
and Wellesley.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
It is.
Next door to the baths. We'd see the people coming in and out of the baths first thing in the morning, which is highly unsavory. And I always said to Ken, do people go to the baths for the buffet? Like, is there a buffet? Like after you have your bath, is there like macaroni salad? Like, like, is there a breakfast buffet? He's like,
Is there?
yes, there is
Ah,
a buffet.
Oh, what a horrible place to go for a buffet.
I know. There's a buffet.
Okay, I have
After you
obviously
have
I
your
want to shout out to Ridley Funeral Home. I want to talk about Ken and the sad ending there. But is it true that he worked for CSIS and would kidnap people in white vans?
I take the fifth.
Really?
Did I tell you that?
You did. I was
okay.
shocked. I was shocked.
He
But
worked
wait,
for
Dean, was that
CSIS.
on the record or off the record? That was on the record, right? That she's
Well, when we record our show, we keep rolling because we get fun
Yeah.
little bits that we're gonna
Yeah.
cut together. And you might have said it then, so it's
Okay.
kind of
Well,
on
listen,
the record.
you can plead
Yeah.
the fifth. It's Canada.
But it's
we don't have
alleged,
that.
right? It's alleged.
It's
He's
alleged.
no longer
But-
with us. I don't think you can libel a guy who's passed on.
No. He did work for CSIS. And
Seriously?
Oh,
yes,
seriously?
Yes.
No one
yes,
knows
he
this.
did.
That
Nobody
blows me
knows this.
away.
And he could kill a man with his bare hands. He was a black belt.
Like we should tell you were not just like a colleague of Ken, but you were like his
I was
best
his best friend. Yeah. And there's other things I can't go into for security reasons that might involve Libya, and I'm not even kidding. So he
Gaddafi.
was,
I want to know how
Caustic
he
killed
even
Gaddafi.
got into it. Like, is this something that he was like this
well,
guy from Winnipeg?
when his tap dancing career failed, where do you go?
Yeah, you go to CSIS. Yeah,
You
it
go to
makes perfect
CSIS.
sense.
He was, Ken was like the most complicated person ever. But Ken was a force beyond. And you did not want to mess with Ken because there was a side of him that was insane, like CSIS for sure. And then the other side that was so kind and loving. And he was very complicated guy. I know Mike can't believe it, but it's true.
I can't believe it, but there has
It
to
is
be
shocking to hear that.
there has to be a movie about him.
Yeah.
Don't you think
I
that'd be
would
a
love
great
it.
movie?
And I could get it through his ex-boyfriend, who I
What's
got a
what's
lot
for
of.
CSIS?
What's for CSIS? I could get it from his ex-boyfriend. There's lots of info there. Oh God, yeah. I
I'm
mean, he won a
still
lot
blown
of
away.
tap
Wow.
dancing competitions, but maybe it was something else. I
But
don't
he
know.
would kidnap people in white vans? Like, are yours
Well,
confirming?
they had to interview people. I just want to leave it at that. No,
Wow.
he
I'm
had a
fascinated. I'm
he was a
fascinated.
very powerful person, Ken.
But he was a
Very
big
powerful.
personality, but I didn't think that
Massive.
he was CSIS
Massive.
and could take people out.
Well, I don't know if he took people out, but he was.
Well, you just said he could kill someone with his bare hands. So
No, he could. I didn't say he did, but he was a
No,
black belt.
but
He was a
I
black
mean,
belt. And once on set, he did a high kick. I'm like, Jesus.
was that
God.
from the tap dancing or the kung fu?
He was a tap dance. He had a little heel on, and he did a kick. And I was like, oh my God, he could kill somebody either with his heels or his foot. He was stronger than you would have thought for a little man. He was strong.
Yeah, I
He was
guess.
very
Yeah,
strong.
he was kind of. Yeah, he was
He could
kinda
get
stocky.
bulky. He could get bulky.
No, MJ, I'm on a serious tip. I'm very sorry that you lost your best friend. He was so young. Like, were you there at the end when he passed away?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, yes, I was. And so he got sick in October. And at that time, I just started dating someone, believe it or not. So I wanted to tell Ken about it, and I couldn't get in touch with him. He was in the hospital. So he had a very, very rough patch from October to January. And then it was he just had a set of bad circumstances, when you get just bad luck, like one thing after another. And, but I remember talking to him in the new year in January, and he was feeling much, much better. And he said to me, you have to come to Toronto and see me, and you have to bring Lola, because he loved Lola. He was obsessed with Lola. And I said, will do. And I was talking to him throughout. And then it was March or April, and I had to come to Toronto for work. I couldn't bring Lola. And the day before I came to Toronto, I got a call from his boyfriend saying he's had a relapse and he's in the hospital. So I was like, okay. So I went, and he was, anyway, yeah, I think it's okay to talk about this. He was hooked up to machines. He was no longer viable, really, And I walked in, and he was really kind of, he'd hate me for saying this, but bloated. But what I said to him was like, honestly, you're so bloated. You have no wrinkles. Like, you look so good right now. You have no idea. You look like a 30-year-old man, whatever you're doing. So I spent quite a few days with him. I would go in and see him. And then the final day I went in with my mother, and I was just sitting there with him, and I just did not want to leave. I didn't want to leave because I knew. And my mom said, you got to go. So I said goodbye. And then the next day when I got to California, he passed away. So he waited for me to see him. So I spent 3 or 4 days with talking to him. I talked to the doctors. They told me what was going to happen. And I didn't have power of attorney. I didn't have that. But with his boyfriend, I was like, okay, it's time, I think, to let him go. But it was heartbreaking. And people were heartbroken. 57?
Wow.
Yeah, way too young.
57, yeah.
I do remember when you were doing the show that he'd go through phases where he'd be kind of bloated.
Yeah, and it was
he would
pancreatitis.
have pancreatitis, yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
That eventually
Wow.
took him out. Yeah. And then I guess that summer we had a big celebration of life for him. And you know me, I'm so off the cuff. and I could not do it off the cuff. I had to write a speech because I couldn't get through it. But he was very, very loved. People adored him.
He was
People
great.
adored
He
him.
was so funny. I just remember
Yeah.
just having such great times at
Yeah.
the house with Ken, and just was so funny, just so
Yeah.
funny. And the two of you together, that was lightning in a bottle.
It was once in a lifetime sort of thing.
There's never been another show like it. Like,
No.
just cracking jokes. It's, it's all just the Food Network has just become predictable. It's just
Can you imagine
competition
if we
show
had
after
have done that?
competition show.
If we had
Oh
have
my
done that show
God.
in the States, I would not be doing this show. I would be in
No,
Montecito right now next
It
to
would be
Oprah.
amazing. Well, hey,
Yeah.
maybe
Maybe
it can be resurrected.
Yeah. So people love him far and wide. And if I ever post anything on Instagram about him or a birthday tribute, the quotes I get from people are like, I was gay. You helped me come out. My mom was sick. I used to sit up with her at night and watch you. I was breastfeeding. So he had quite a legacy. He had a really nice legacy that he left. So he was fun.
Mr.
So
Caustic.
Oh, I feel a bit bad for suing him 3 times now. Oh, well.
It was 3
stuff
times. I
happens.
only thought it was once, but
Twice. It's twice.
So that's
was
a real.
nice, but
I heard Dean say that, and I didn't know if it was a joke or if it's so.
Oh, no, we did. We always did.
well,
We
yeah. I
did.
mean, he used pictures in his book of Jack, and that weren't nobody authorized. So
Yeah.
he threatened to charge me of being a pedophile because
Oh.
remember the
He
picture.
did?
Yeah. You remember that picture, Jack and I's first bath?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm covering Jack's privates and Jack is covering my privates. And
Yeah.
it's just a
Yeah.
funny picture. And he was just
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm going to charge. I'm going to out Dean as a pedophile.
Oh,
Like,
you see, he could go either
he could
way.
he could get nasty.
That's nasty, man. That's
Yeah.
nasty. So.
Yeah, he could get very nasty, but
We went from rest in peace to you son of a bitch.
No,
but
it's
that's
just-
why I
mean,
still
that's-
loved him. I still loved him. He was complicated. I still loved him. And I wish he was still here.
That was the
I really
CSIS in him
do.
coming out.
Yeah, a little CSIS.
Apparently, he
came out.
could have killed me. I mean,
Funny,
He
mind
could've,
blows
like,
here. Hey, Dean, you have canceled your dinner plans, right? We're just warming up. No, just kidding. I do want to
Yeah.
know. Okay, so your IMDb page, it's similar to Tony Napo. Tony Napo.
Yeah,
Without the cock.
without the Schrantz.
What are the 3 roles? I just want to know the 3 roles in your lifetime that you're the most proud of as an actor.
Ooh, that's good.
There is a role from Top Cops from mid 80s. For those of you who don't know, Top Cops was a sort of a kind of a procedural show about cops opening a case or following a case. And I played, it's so funny, I played a pedophile, this carpet cleaner, and I killed this 12-year-old girl. And I remember it was Thanksgiving in Canada, and I stayed home because I didn't want to be around anybody I loved. I didn't want that. It was kind of the first method thing I ever did. And I worked with Henry Czerny, who's become a huge star.
Big time.
Yeah, Mission Impossible. Incredible actor, incredible guy. And so I just killed these scenes that I had. And I was 24, so that was my big. So I'm proud of that role.
All of Canada was like, why is the Bell guy killing them?
And why is he killing little kids? And then Due South.
Yeah.
Due South was my favorite show to work on. Paul Gross, Paul Haggis, Callum Keith Rennie. And I got to play this doofus Mountie. And it was the first time like I discovered that I could play comedy. And I just loved it. That's my first love is comedy, comedic acting. And the show disbanded, but I just love that. And that's where I learned from Paul Gross, best idea win, and Paul Haggis, that best idea wins. If you're on the catering truck and you have a great idea for the show, and if it's better than mine, it's in the show. And then Open Range with Kevin Costner, Robert Duvall. That was my biggest gig to date. Still, Sir Michael Gambon.
Oh,
Robert Duvall. But tell them how
Robert Duvall.
tell Mike
Speaking of
what
The
you did in the
Godfather.
audition to get the role.
Oh,
It was really audition what you did. It was
yeah,
really cool.
it was funny. This was my fourth big American project that I was auditioning for, and I didn't. Oh, I was like, yeah, right. I'm gonna get a role in an American movie with Kevin Costner, Robert Duvall, Annette Bening, um, and the great late Michael Jeter, amazing actor.
Sure.
And so I learned the lines in the car on the way over because I was like, fuck this. There's no way. There's no way Costner's gonna hire me. There's no way. So I go in and I'm playing this doctor, and I decided to play him. My audition was different than what was on the screen. I played him an alcoholic with a limp, and they got back to me like as soon as they got the tape, like the next day, and they're like, "Is Dean disabled? Is he a disabled actor?" And my agent was like, "He is if you want him to be." But they hired me right away. And if you get the DVD, for those of you who are young, at DVDs were like little discs that played movies on. They have
Yeah.
extras, and everything was being filmed behind the scenes. So Costner had all the headshots out of everybody that he hired, and he took mine specifically and said, "Now this Dean." Dean came in, and he had a point of view, and he played it with the limp, and he's like, "This is a great actor here," and he got the part right away. And that was awesome.
Yeah.
To get
Amazing.
that from. I haven't worked with him since. I mean, I'd love to be on Yellowstone. There's like 20 parts I could play on that, but that
He was such
yeah.
a nice guy. He was such a cool guy.
He's such a cool guy, so laid back, great director. But he kept calling Mary Jo Mary. And if you ever call Mary Jo Mary, she'll shut you down right away. But not Costner.
He couldn't. He was too cute.
No, he was dreamy. And
he was dreamy.
I remember on the Mike Bullard show, the pre-interview, they were like, "What's he like?" I said, "He's like the nicest smelling guy I've ever." So they put that in the interview, but he just fucking smelled great. We're in the middle of nowhere in Calgary, the horse shit and everything. Like, it was a real Western town, and 100-degree weather and wool, and he just smelled great all the time.
Well, I remember when I came to visit you on set, because they recreated this whole set in the valley, right? Like, it was I think in Canmore. So
it was in Canmore, some beautiful valley in Canmore.
So it took a while to get there. So Jack was only 3 or 4. So Dean was shooting that day. So we got taken to, and there was like a tent, I guess a tent. So I walked in the tent, and the sun was shining through, and like a spotlight on Kevin Costner. And I was walking towards him, and he smiled at me, and I was like, "Oh my God, this man is so gorgeous." He came over and shook my hand. It was so lovely. His wife was super lovely too. Hi, Mary. And I was like,
"Hi, Mary."
What? And I remember meeting Robert Duvall. And I went up to meet him, and he looked at Dean. He went, "Dean, you lied. You told me she wasn't beautiful." I was like, "Oh my God."
He was kind of crusty.
He was kind of crusty.
He threatened. Do you remember Dave, the little guy who was Kevin Costner's personal videographer? Yeah. He threatened to beat the shit out of him, and
he was
shove his rifle butt down his throat if he kept filming him.
Yeah, he was funny. He was funny. Robert Duvall.
Yeah.
Okay, here I'm going to do something now. I'm going to do rapid fire questions that you guys can just quickly handle, and then I'm going to just promote a few podcasts, including X's and Uh-Ohs, and then we'll have kind of our final thoughts here.
Okay.
So,
final thoughts.
This has been a great show. I could talk for another hour. Mike, you're awesome.
Yeah, you're great, Mike.
Don't tempt me. Craig M writes in, my question would be, and I need to preface this by saying, I shared a promotional photo of you two for X's and Uh-Ohs. So there's a photo of you two, and in this picture I shared, Dean's got a red leather jacket on, and Craig M wants to know, why do you have Michael Jackson's jacket on?
It's a good question, Craig.
What's funny is that's the third time someone's made mention of the Michael Jackson jacket. I want you to look up, Craig, I want you to look up the Michael Jackson jacket, and I want you to compare it side by side with my Master Supply Company Belvedere Collection red leather jacket. And they're nothing alike. I just love that jacket. I can see, the Michael Jackson reference. It's a bit of a stretch, but hey, I'm supporting an incredible company out of Sudbury, Canadian company,
Hey,
Master Supply Company. They make incredible leather jackets. Check them out. If you don't like the red one, then don't get the red one.
and then he goes, his second question is, he went to the Wikipedia page to read up on you, Mr. Dean McDermott, and he said, it reads like plot lines from a soap opera. He says, you must be exhausted.
It used, like I said, I used to be exhausting, and I take it personally and stuff like that, but I didn't even know I had a Wikipedia page. I'm gonna go and look at it now. Thanks, Craig. But yeah,
wear your red jacket.
I'm gonna wear my red leather jacket, and I'm gonna read the Wikipedia page. After a while, it's just all noise. I know my truth.
Yeah, and I want you to address this. I think now knowing you the way I do, I'm almost like embarrassed to ask this question. But Lonnie says, and I'm just reading this. Ask Dean why he was such a douche back then. Did he leave his wife and baby for the spelling fortune? Just address that specifically. Like, is there a spelling fortune that caught your eye? Like, just speak to that.
No, I didn't put the two together. Like, I didn't know how prolific Aaron Spelling was as a producer. I knew a little bit that, Tori was his daughter on a show that he created. But beyond that, I didn't know. Like, he produced shows I watched as a kid, Starsky and Hutch, The Mod Squad. Like, I didn't know how big he was. I certainly didn't know how much he was worth. But you know what? This question has been asked so many times. Like, you're just after her for the fame, you're after the family money, and that's why you got with her. And that's honestly my hand to God, I swear on my mother's grave, that is not the reason. I honestly call it naive. I didn't even know there was a fortune. And you know what? Without getting too into it, it's not there. It's not there.
And
so
if that was your play, you don't need to have 5 kids with the woman. Like, you could have 1 or 2.
No. Like, if I wanted to, if that was my play, I'd get in, make sure there's 2, and then so then I'm in. This, and everybody gave us, I gave 6 months. I had a friend of mine at the wedding party we threw afterwards, because we got married in Fiji, just the 2 of us, say to my good friend Johnny Fever, who lives just around the corner from you, and say, I give it 6 months. And he almost got the shit kicked out of him at the party, because Johnny Fever was like, what the fuck? But here we are, 17 years later, 5 kids. And, everybody who thinks I'm after some kind of fortune, I probably would have been out by now if I was. 17 years, 5 kids. That's a lot. That's a commitment.
Right.
And we're still going strong. And
okay. On that note, though, I don't mean to interrupt, except my mom had a question. She came over yesterday. No, 2 days ago, she came over. We played euchre with my oldest son.
She wants me to sign her bra.
Would you? Is that asking?
Yeah, no, of course. I heard your mom's feisty. So of course, yeah.
My mom's hot. I just mentioned to my mom, you 2 were on the show Monday, and my mom says, I heard Dean McDermott and Tori Spelling are separated. And I said, well, do you want me to ask him? I said, because the guy's like super authentic and trustworthy, and he just tells the truth all the time. And she goes, yes, please. So my question is, my mom wants to know if you're still with Tori or you're separated.
My mom wants to know.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Come on.
Scouts honor.
Okay. This is for Mike's mom.
Not from me. I don't care.
We are not divorced. We are not getting separated. We are still together. We are still in love. We're still going strong. All of this started when Tori went out without her wedding ring on. She washed her hands, forgot to put her wedding ring on. But at this point, the paparazzi had left us alone for a good 2 years. So she goes to the farmer's market, and out of nowhere, she's like, I got followed by a paparazzi. It's been 2 years. This is crazy, So, a week goes by, and then all of a sudden these stories start popping up online and in magazines. Oh, trouble in paradise. Tori Spelling was spotted without her ring. And then we're like, okay, if that's the narrative, let's just go along with it, because they always ask you for comments. So we're just like, no comment, no comment. And then it just grew into this big thing. I lost my wedding ring on the golf course. So now they're like, oh, he's not wearing his ring, and da 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 da.
Like, for what it's
So-
worth, I don't wear my ring either, and I'm happily married to Monica.
And you know what? I started wearing the utility rings, the silicone rings.
Sorta.
Yeah, they're awesome because
Okay.
you don't catch your knuckle. Like the guy I think who invented it, like broke his finger because it got hooked on something. So I play golf with this silicone ring. I keep it on when I play hockey, and I took it off because I was having a bad round of golf, and I thought, okay, it's stupid, golf mindset thing. So I put it in my pocket, and when I was reaching in to pull out a tee, I guess it fell out on the golf course.
Oh.
So anyway, so I'm spotted without my ring. And now for those of you out there who don't understand this, paparazzi follow celebrities around all day. Okay. They get these shots and they submit them to the magazines. The magazines look at them and go, okay, we can create this story. It's like, oh, we got Julia Roberts without her wedding ring. Oh, her and Danny Motor are going to get divorced. Da, da, da. So they create these narratives based on these pictures these paparazzis get. And sources, a source says, could be anybody, because they can't give up their sources.
Right.
The Amazon guy.
There used to be a thing that you would have to, corroborate your story back in the day. Now you don't have to. Just as long,
never been a thing in the tabloids anyway.
Yeah, just as long as you don't say anything that's
a Globe and Mail thing.
They could get sued.
Yeah.
Right. So there you go,
so
Mom.
you're still married. You're still married.
Still married.
Okay,
And by the way, my
married.
mom's name, Mary.
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 Not Mary Jo.
Mary.
We
Dean is
married.
still married. So we can all get on with our life now. Thank God.
What's your background, Mike?
You mean like
Scottish, I'd
are you-
say.
many generations Canadian, but if you go back further, Ireland actually.
Ireland. Okay,
Irish. Irish.
Yeah, because Mary's usually a
It's all a Jesus
Scottish,
thing. I guess,
yeah,
it's a Catholic, Irish Catholic thing too.
Mother Mary and Joseph.
Right. Shout out to the Dairy Girls on.
I love that show.
Yeah, it's a
Love
great
that
show.
show. And White Lotus. Have you watched White
Okay.
Lotus?
Oh yeah. I want to see this next
so
set.
good.
Next
I
time.
just saw episode 2 of season 2, and that guy Mike White, Mike, if you're
Brilliant.
listening,
Genius.
you should be booking D. McDermott for your next season.
Yes.
That guy does a great
Yes.
job. I love all the Mike White stuff. Like everything he does is just gold. So
No, he's great.
he's
And
onto something. He's
I
definitely
really,
onto
really
something.
enjoyed.
it's like
Really
he sets
enjoyed
a
White
mood.
Lotus.
Like it's the scenes here. This one's in Italy, so just like the other one was in Hawaii, but
Mhm.
like the scenery and the music and the score, and he just sets a mood and he starts to establish the characters, and he just hooks you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved
I
the
loved
first
it.
season because we've been to the 4 seasons there in Maui several times, so it's kind of cool to.
And not the 4 seasons landscaping. That was a different thing. That's where
That's right. That's where
yeah.
Giuliani gave his speech.
on this day.
Was it?
Yeah, I think it's
Right in the
anniversary.
parking lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was very
4 seasons
sophisticated.
landscaping.
Yeah. Wow.
Very
this
sophisticated.
All right,
is
Bridget.
a
so I
special
wanna-
episode.
Bridget, I had an aunt. Okay, my mom's aunt was named Bridget, by the way. So Bridget, how does their relationship? She's missing a word here, but how does their relationship now? What's their relationship like now? I'm changing it for Bridget. As more mature and well-rounded adults compared to their relationship years ago. Maybe we use this as a opportunity to revisit the fact that everyone listening can subscribe to X's and Uh-Ohs with
Right
Jim
now.
McDermott and Mary
Right
Jane
now.
And here on my little website, torontomike.com, I have a button on the top that says TMDS podcast. I have all the links. If you're like, where is it? Like most people know to just search their podcatcher for that. And you can just search the podcatcher for the name Dean McDermott or Mary Jo Eustace. You'll find it. But if you don't know how to do that, go to my website, torontomike.com, and hit TMDS podcasts, and you'll see that great graphic, that great image for X's and Uh-Ohs. And I have all the links like to Apple, Spotify, Google, you name it. They're all there, including YouTube, where you can not only hear episode 1, but see you two beautiful people. And it's quite something.
Oh God, I want to see it.
Wow, I want to watch.
If I
that.
wasn't
Yeah,
on it, I'd want to see it and watch it
Definitely.
and hear it.
definitely,
This is serious shit. This is
Yeah.
life-changing, life-altering conversations.
it is.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna
You're
let
welcome.
I'm gonna let you field the question from Bridget because I feel like a lot of the questions were directed at
Do you
me.
remember the
I
question?
fell
Do you wanna-
asleep. You were talking about your marriage. I don't know what the fuck.
Apparently you're more
like I've
mature
heard
now.
this 10 million times.
And well-rounded adult.
I was doing my taxes. Go on. Sorry.
Shout out
Oh,
to
okay.
But,
Alright.
Could you read the question again?
Okay.
I didn't
Well,
know Aaron Spelling did Starsky and Hutch. That's what I learned. Everything else
Yeah.
is wow,
Mod
wow,
Squad-
wow, wow,
Mod
wow,
Squad,
wow,
yeah.
wow. Okay.
Just
What would
answer
you
the
like to know-
question, Mary Jo.
what would you
now
like
that
to
you're
know,
more mature
Bridget?
and well-rounded adults, what's your relationship is now compared to the way it was before? I guess the suggestion is that you weren't always mature and well-rounded adults.
Well, Bridget, thanks for the double entendre insult. No, I think that no, I mean, our relationship. I think what we talk about on the podcast is when you are married and you go through a divorce and the ups and downs of marriage, and then when you enter into the divorce landscape, what that's like. And I think in one of our podcasts, we really specifically talk about, we knew nothing about marriage. Who knows anything about marriage? I mean, my parents are a disaster. 4 kids, 3 kids divorced in my family. Dean and I, we didn't know what it was or the expectations. So we really delve into that. And mature, I don't like throwing that word around. I think that we're searchers, like we're seekers, we're curious as to finding a road back to a friendship and what that means and how it affects all areas of our life. It's a journey. So it's not about so much as becoming mature as becoming more authentic to who we are and what we meant to each other at one time and what we can mean to each other now and moving forward. So
What
was
a
that
great
good,
answer.
Dean?
That's a
Yeah.
great answer. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
not about, it's not about maturity. Life is a journey.
I am not going to be mean
Um,
to those people 17 years ago who went through what we did. I have compassion for those people
Mhm.
because we went through a lot and it was a
Mhm.
shit storm. And I look back at it and don't judge. I
Yeah.
don't judge it anymore.
That's why I think if you mend fences and get rid of that hatred that you have for your ex, you open up space for empathy and
Other areas in your life open up. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if I should tell our viewer, but I have a boyfriend.
Yes,
I
yeah,
had
that's a
sex for
perfect
10 days
example.
Spoiler alert.
straight.
That
10
is a
days straight.
perfect example because that you started, aside from the guy who dressed like a hot dog and the other guy dressed like a taco, you were starting, once we started this podcast and started our
Yeah.
journey, you were
Yeah.
starting to get dates. So obviously the hot dog and the taco guy didn't even make it, but this new
Didn't
guy,
make it. I've got a new guy.
so
Anyway.
you had free space for this person in your life.
Oh, I've opened up, Dean. I have. I have. But what I'm saying is when you do this work, you do other areas of your life.
Yeah.
Shift.
Yeah.
They do shift, which is
Yeah.
interesting.
My IBS is cleared up.
Thank God. And so is your skin, Dean.
I know. I look really good today. Look at my
You look
skin.
really HOTT.
You know what? I
Hot
played
as fuck,
hockey
my
2 days in
friend.
a row. I played
Oh,
2 days
that's it.
2 days of hockey, and I think that's
Are they all expats? Like they're all
it's
Canadians?
brought out a
playing
glow.
hockey there?
A lot of Canadians. Saturday, a lot of Canadians, a lot of French Canadians on the team.
I won't be
Drink your
dropping
Labatt's
by.
50s and
The Labatt 5 ans and the red cap. You know what?
times.
It's great because I get to hang out with Canadians, which I love, and it just reminds me of home.
would you ever come home? I mean, Mary Jo on the record on her show said she's not moving back to Toronto with a gun to her head. So
Yeah, well, hey, I'm totally open to moving back to Canada. And hey, if I get that TV series that I'd love to get, that's going to keep me there for a while. The big places to shoot are Toronto,
LA,
Calgary,
New York.
or Vancouver in Canada.
Yeah.
Right. So
So-
Calgary is my favorite place. I discovered
You
Calgary.
like Calgary is fun.
Yeah,
The people
yeah.
there.
I
are
even
fun,
wear
but
I wear Calgary Flame colors when I play hockey because I'm a fan of the team because I love if I ever had to move back permanently, I'd move to Calgary. Nothing against Toronto. I'd love to Toronto, but I'd live outside of Toronto. I wouldn't
maybe
live
I'd
downtown
live on
anymore.
the East Coast. Maybe I'd live on the ocean and
Yeah.
have a cabin.
I
But Dean,
love the East Coast, but
but
work wise,
Dean and I might also we're working on a TV show together. So you could have
we
That's
might
true.
end up in
Joe
Canada. You never know.
and Dean 24/7. 24/7.
We're starting our own network.
Yeah.
The X's and
are.
O's network. Yeah.
Uh-ohs, but you don't X's and uh-ohs. but
Uh-ohs.
that's-
I just,
Okay,
that's
so
what we're doing.
I'm very subtle, Mary Jo, with the
You are. Hit it harder, Dean.
Three
Ah.
podcasts FOTMs need to be aware of right now. So
Yes.
X's and Uh-ohs with Dean McDermott and Mary Jo Eustace.
Sign up right now.
Sign up right now.
Please.
Also sign up to the Advantaged Investor podcast from Raymond James Canada that's hosted by Chris Cooksey. And he's got these leading professionals that provide insights into like a valuable perspective for Canadian investors who want to remain knowledgeable, informed, and focused on long-term success. So that's called the Advantaged Investor from Raymond James Canada. And last but not least, I love talking about the Yes, We Are Open podcast. That's a Moneris podcast production where Al Grego's been telling the stories of Canadian small businesses and their perseverance in the face of overwhelming adversity. You can subscribe to that podcast at yesweareopenpodcast.com.
Awesome.
I have a question for you, Mike.
Go ahead, buddy.
When we get sponsors, do we have to do that too?
I want to.
I'm excited to do it.
So on a serious tip, there's two ways to do it. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
The pre-roll,
This episode of
you
X's
guys-
and Uh-ohs is
you
brought
guys
to you by
record something,
Tampax.
so I've got it, and then basically, like in a moment where you're transitioning from one topic to another, I drop it in there. So it's not a live read; it's a pre-roll. You
okay.
guys have canned this where you two talk about whatever. That's
Gotcha.
one way. Then there's my preferred way, which is the way I roll and talk about stickeru.com or Palma Pasta or Canna Cabana or Ridley Funeral Home or Great Lakes Brewery. I prefer to do it embedded in the conversation.
In the episode.
So
Okay.
it's like you guys
I
can
didn't
riff
know
on
you
it.
were so competent at your job. Who knew? I just thought you pressed record. Look at you with your
Yeah.
podcast and your
You've been in
sponsorship
California too long.
stuff.
Okay.
Oh my God. Ridley Funeral Home. I'm calling right now.
You can totally do a pre plan, I think they call it, where you can arrange everything in advance, and then it's just
Thanks, Mike.
it's a long
And
way
then,
from
then they
California.
just come and pick you up and done.
And that's actually
Good.
I find it because we talk about your 7 kids and my 4 kids, and Brad Jones, who's the funeral director at Ridley Funeral Home, he has himself 6 children.
Wow.
Wow.
They're
Wow.
both putting me to shame there.
Wow.
Good-
So
good-
he's
good
going to
for
be
him.
burying himself soon.
He's a great guy. I actually
Pretty
produced his podcast, which is called Life's Undertaking. So people should
Oh,
check it
wow.
out.
What a
And I
great
get to
That's
idea.
co-host that
cute.
one.
What a
That's
great idea.
cute. I like it. Oh my God, you're firing on all cylinders. Look at
Yeah.
you.
You guys like butter tarts?
Oh,
Favorite,
yes,
favorite,
yes.
favorite,
Big
My
question.
mom made the best butter tarts.
favorite butter tarts. Love them.
So I tweeted this earlier, and it seems to be a polarizing thing. I've tweeted. I didn't realize.
With or without raisins. That's what you're going to ask.
You are so correct, Mary Jo. You're reading my mind. I feel like we spent enough time together. We're on the same wavelength. I desperately want raisins in my butter tarts. I love to chomp into a raisin in that sea of sugary cinnamon.
That's the
goodness, whatever.
only time I like raisins in a dessert. You put raisins in rice pudding. ugh.
Yeah, I go. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Mary Jo,
But
do you
here's
like
here's
raisins in
another
yours?
controversial thing.
Okay, but first, Mary Jo, do you like raisins
Yes.
in your butter tarts? She's thinking, everybody. She's thinking.
Truthfully, I like it without raisins.
Okay, that's fair. A lot of people agree with you. What do you
Totally
say,
cool.
Dean?
I love raisins. I love raisins, but I'm such a butter tart fan that I like them without. But there's been a bit of controversy, movement,
Oh.
controversy.
Controversy. What?
Gooey, or crispy.
Crispy.
Yeah, I would
Really?
go Chris. I don't want.
Oh, I like it.
I'd go crispy, no raisins.
Crispy, no
gooey-
raisins.
gooey raisins.
But
Gooey
I like when
raisins.
it's almost because we used to get them at the cottage growing up. We used to go to the bakery and get butter tarts. My grandfather would get them for us. And so when they crystallized a little bit and they were crunchy, oh, I
Caramelized
love
or
that.
whatever.
I'm
yeah.
so hungry.
you
now
are,
from
No,
that.
I want a
culinary
butter
expert.
tart so bad.
Yeah.
I
But
do
see, I
too.
like the gooey because I'll break off the crust and dip
And then
it.
you can dip it in
Okay.
the goo.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
I'll have a good ratio of gooiness to the rest of the crust.
Guys,
Huh?
I am that's amazing, and I'm so glad.
And
that
then I like to wash it down with a Great Lakes Brewery IPA.
And if I die right after, will I go to Ridley Funeral Home?
if you're lucky,
The reason I got into eating butter tarts is Cabana
Canna Cabana,
cannabis,
man.
Canna Cabana.
You
Canna
know,
Cabanas.
it's legal here. It's legal in California too, but I know there's some states where it's
California
still-
smells like weed all the time. Have you noticed
All
that
the
ever
time.
since? It's
Oh,
just everywhere
totally.
you go, it just smells like weed. It's like I've had enough.
Totally.
I'm over
Totally.
it.
Correct.
I'm very glad I met you guys. I think your dynamic is pretty misunderstood, and I think if people hear you for a little bit, like an unedited, you two interacting, they'll come from that conversation and realize that you two may have gone through some shit. Just like Andy Dufresne in Shawshank Redemption, you had to kind of get through that tunnel of shit to come out clean on the other side. And you guys have come out the other side. And yeah, I'm just saying, I tell everyone, you got to hear this. Like, it's real, it's authentic. I'm so excited to be a part of it. And I think 2 people connected us, and I just want to shout them out because without them, I don't think I'd be talking to you right now. Helen Tansey, who we've talked about, and
yes,
that's how you got in my basement, and
Yep.
Bob Willett.
Yeah, Bob
Joe
Willett.
and I were talking.
Thank you, Bob.
Different project at some point, and then suddenly this wonderful thing arose. So
My producer from What's for Breakfast. Well, look, we've had a blast on your show, and we, you know, and people tuning in, you're going to hear things you never thought you'd hear.
Yep.
The topics we cover, it's not typical. We're not talking alimony, child support, none of that.
Nothing
This is
salacious.
all about
Yeah.
no, this is all about the experience of what you go through. And we're going to have incredible guests on. We've got incredible guests coming on the show lined up. So it's going to be a wild ride. It's going to be a great ride. So please come along and join.
It's from the heart. We were going to call it From the Heart, but Kevin Hart has that already.
Were we? I forgot.
No, I'm kidding.
is Ian Ziering going to come on the show?
I'm not sure, but I think maybe his ex-wife might. She's a friend.
Head blown.
Yep. There's so many people in LA. You can't swing a dead cat without hitting someone who's been divorced. So, you know,
we've got some cool perspectives on it.
Yeah, we're not going to be short on guests. And then when the show hits and becomes a success, they're going to just beat a line to our door.
That's what's happening, Mike.
That's what's happening. This is going to be big.
Plan, Stan.
This is going to be
huge. But we would love to do Humble and Fred.
Yes.
And
Love
we'll
Humble and Fred.
so we don't have to get up early. It sounds
I'll
great.
do the outro and then we'll talk, because I know at least 3 different podcasts I produce are dying to talk to you. So we'll make it all
awesome. And you know what? While we're still on the show, it's been so great meeting you, working with you, and getting to know you. You're just such a great guy. I love working with you, and you're a great interview and just a great fucking guy. So I'm happy to call you friend.
I thought you were going to say great fuck. Didn't know what you were going to say at the end.
Well, not yet. I mean, we're so far away. Maybe next time I'm in Toronto.
Yeah. It's been in my basement. Okay.
It's true with the cannabis and the beer. Who knows what's going to happen?
But I've been in his basement, but baby steps, baby steps.
And what happens in this basement stays in his basement.
Hold hands. Run your fingers through his hair. He's got great hair.
Great hair. Yes.
Enjoy yourself. Take your time.
Life is too short.
And that
is a wrap.
Brings us to the end of our 1145th show.
Wow.
Now you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Toronto Mike, but you two don't really tweet. So just shout out your Instagram.
Mary Jo Eustace, Instagram. Please come comment. I don't care if it's bad, good, indifferent. I take it all. So I would love to hear from everybody, and join us on our journey, and any questions we can answer, we can do it that way too.
Yeah, I'm Dean McDermott. I am Dean McDermott on Instagram and Twitter. I got kicked off of Facebook.
Who knows why?
I think I made fun of Don Trump Jr. about grinding his teeth, being gacked out of blow.
Then I'm not on Facebook either.
So they shut me down. But anyway, you can email us at xsandahos@gmail.com.
xsandahos@gmail.com. Our friends at Great Lakes Brewery are at Great Lakes Beer. Palma Pasta's at Palma Pasta. Sticker U is at Sticker U. Moneris are at Moneris. Raymond James Canada are at Raymond James CDN. Recycle My Electronics are at EPRA_Canada. Ridley Funeral Home are at Ridley FH. Canna Cabana are at Canna Cabana _ and Sammy Cohn is KOHN. He's at Sammy Cohn on Twitter. Ask him any questions you like. He's ready to help with your real estate questions. He's drumming up results. See you all next week.
Sammy Cohn, Sammy. You've never made dying sound so good. Ridley.
Get in. Why you can. Come on down.
What are you waiting for?
Oh my God. Get hit by a bus today. See us tomorrow.
You can make it happen.